What's up, everybody? Hey, you just seen that thumbnail. I know your mouth is all watery. We finna make a banana pudding cake, and this is finna be over the top. Let's go. Okay, folks, look, as I always do, I like to fly over these ingredients so you guys can get the gist of just how many ingredients it is, right? Don't forget, the full ingredient list will be on my website, Smokin and Grillin with AB.com, and that's WITAB.com. Now, listen, you want to make sure you got them fresh bananas. And yes, I am going to be using these Jello packs right here. I promise you, this cake right here is going to take us all the way over. Okay, so look, this goes together and assembles so quickly, right? So this is what you want to do. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, right? I've already done that, so it's coming up to temp. Right now I'm at 132 and it's rising. Now, we're going to be using the yellow box cake, right? So let me put on my gloves. All right, so this right here, you want to get yourself like any of your favorite, yellow cakes, right? So this would be what I'm using. So you want to follow the instructions that's really on the box. I'm giving you guys what generally all of them, say, right? So we get ready to open this up, right? So take this, and we just dump it. We just making a cake right now, folks. But it's the infusion that we finna do with it that just sends it right over the top. If you got any function you're going to, don't forget, Labor Day is coming up. This is what you're gonna wanna put in there. This is what you're gonna wanna take. Then we're getting ready to add, our oil. This is what's gonna make it nice and moist, folks. Our water. And by the way, we're gonna be using the hand mixer. And we're gonna put our eggs in. Then we get our hand mixer. We start slow, folks. Right? Look at that. You don't want to get it all over the place. Then as you get it, it starts to mix, then we just kick it up just a little bit. Oh yeah, this is taking me back to when Granny was in the kitchen making her pies and her cakes and all of that. Remember when we used to be able to have those beaters? And then once everything is incorporated, I run a spatula around the sides, so we can get everything in there. I got a glass bowl. I'm able to look on the side to make sure I don't see no flour or nothing like that, right? I want you guys to notice, I don't turn it all the way up high. I'm not trying to aerate it, but this is what I love right here. Look at that. For those of you guys, this is your first time ever making something like this your first cake, this will be nice, easy, and you're gonna love the cleanup. You know why? Because we're gonna put it in an aluminum pan. All right, so this is what I'm talking about when I say the aluminum pan, right? So you want to get yourself a little non-stick spray, Pam does make one that's specifically made, for baking. It's like a spray powder. That'll work too. But that's it. You don't need that much. All right, now I'm getting ready to take it and we'll just pour this in here just like this. Look at that right there. Yes, sir. Something about when you see something slow like this and the way it smells. Come on, folks. Right, and this is gonna be nice and moist, Okay, so now my oven is up to temp. I take it, put it in the inside, and we set a timer for 30 minutes. Okay, so my timer just went off, right? So we wanna make sure and verify, is this cake done, right? So we pull it up, and then we look at that. I see little something on there. I'm gonna check it over here. All right, let's check the center. Bring it up. All right, we're gonna give it another 5 minutes, and then we take it out. We're finna take these. You're gonna need about 5 ounces, right? So we're gonna add these here. All right. All right, so listen, my timer went off. I checked it. I ran a toothpick through it in multiple places to make sure that it comes out clean, right? Now that it's done that, listen, this is gonna be a little level up for us. We're gonna make the cake, we're gonna infuse it with just, this banana cream flavor, right? So what I'm gonna do is, look, I got a little round, some of you guys have some like wooden spoons or something like that. You're gonna wanna poke some holes in it, and I'm gonna show you why. So I'm gonna just hit here, 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 here. You do whatever pattern you wanna do, but you just wanna make sure that, so when we pour our, our banana cream filling in here, it goes inside of, inside of these holes. Pattern would be great, you can see I'm all over the place, but this is what you're gonna wanna have. Okay, folks, look, I'm finna give up the pro tip, so this is where you wanna listen carefully. This right here is the banana cream pudding mix, right? This is what I put in here, right? So we got 5 ounces of that in here. And then if you look right here, I got 3.5 cups of cold milk. Now, I got my whisk. You wanna have all this together because once we put this cold water in here, this cold milk in here, what it does is activate and it's gonna try to set. Soon as you get it mixed, it shouldn't take you but about 10, 15, 20 seconds at the latest. Then you want to go ahead and pour it on the top while it's still pourable, right? That way you can ensure that it gets inside of these holes, right? So I'm gonna do this for you so you guys can see how it is and watch how I get right to it. Notice I put my whisk in here and here we go. All right, so we pour, we hurry up and get it in there, just like you saw, right? Now, once you got it mixed and it pour, remember I told you it tries to set quick. You see how this is right here? You just want to wait, just like that. Now we pour. I'm not sure if you guys can see how quick it sets, right? But it almost becomes like icing on the top. So what I'm doing is now, and because of how the cake rolls, the corners would kind of like taper down a little bit. So it finds that, all the low ends that'll go down. So I just run this across the top just like you see. You know what I mean? And we call that good. All right, so once you got all of that evened out, to the best you can, this is where it get a little bit on the fun side, right? You want to take your bananas, right? And you just want to start layering the top of it, all right? So that's good. That's good. And so forth, so on. Make sure you got enough bananas. I usually use 3. It depends on how thick I cut them. But it is a banana pudding, cake, so. All right, so look, this is how it should look. You guys see that? It becomes self-explanatory. That's why I didn't show you. You put whatever pattern you want to put on there, just get the bananas on there, right? Now I'm getting ready to open up. Well, I have just opened up my, my Cool Whip. Now we can make this from scratch and do all of that, but sometimes I'm telling you, simple works. We using the boxed cream cheese, banana cream cheese. We using whipped cream that's bought, in the tub, but it's about efficiency and the taste, right? So that's what it brings when you guys come to my channel. All right, so we just come on in here, you know what I mean? And we just start putting it on the top, right? I kind of like look how I'm doing it. I kind of like drop it in. Don't be so sloppy like me. Way over the top, being heavy-handed. My folks say everything I do, I'm heavy-handed. I got to get my finesse back. So here we go. We just put it on like that, and then we work with it. You want to have at least a good layer on top, right? All right, so we get it like this. And I think that's enough. Now, remember how I tapered down on that side? No worries. Because what we're finna do is we just finna try to get it all level. And I wanna make sure that while I'm moving it across with my spatula, I'm not riding over my, the top of my bananas, right? So we just bring it in just like this. Hey, I always tell you, I don't know what it is about the tone of anybody that's making something. When you get to this part right here, when you start really flexing you start flexing yourself, and all of that, feeling good, and all of that. Why does the tone of your voice change? Right, so. Now, cool thing about this is, we're gonna put this in the refrigerator once we're done, right? Now, you guys can be creative and do whatever you would like from here on, as far as your topping. I'm using the classic, vanilla wafer. I used to eat these just out of the box, when I was younger. So we just leave it like this. That looks good. You know what? Even if you made some peaks or whatever, you could put it in the oven under the boiler and get your peaks to turn brown. There's a lot of little things you can do, right? Which I'm interested in hearing. What would you guys do other than what I have done right here? All right, so as you see, I started doing this and got caught up in what I was doing and almost forgot to film, right? So I'm gonna do them like this. Now you guys can use whatever cookie you would like. Again, I tried to use the OG, right? Now you're gonna like the way I'm gonna plate these too. So what I'm getting ready to do now is I'm gonna put them in the, I'm gonna put this whole thing in the refrigerator. I'm gonna let this set. So tomorrow, or maybe later on today, I'll show you guys what it looks like. You only need to put it in the refrigerator for about an hour or two, you know what I mean? But as far as I'm concerned, I might let this go overnight. That's because I got something to do. And then I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like when I cut this and put it on the plate. Okay, so it's next day. Obviously, you can see I done changed my duds, right? So listen, that's done. This has had a good time to set, right? So now I'm finna figure out how I wanna go ahead and cut one of these, you know, get myself a slice, right? So I'm gonna just make myself a line just like this, right? Ooh. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just take it all the way on down. Cut through those bananas down there, right? Just like you see, real simple, you know what I mean? Because you guys know this is like my favorite part right here when it comes to like going ahead and getting everything set up to do myself, you know, my pictures. And that's it, you know, the presentation is everything. This is how you guys got here. So I'm getting ready to get this out of here real carefully. I don't know if I even want to put this on the camera, you know what I'm saying? But let me get this out, let me get it on this plate, and I'll show you what's happening after that. Okay, folks, so listen, took my pictures, you know what I mean? This is the one I use for, you know, my thumbnail. This is probably the one that brought you here, right? So I have that one, but this is that big piece, that corner piece. Remember the corner's kind of like dead like this, so that's why you got that weird little shape to it, right? Even though it was cut in an even square. But with all of that being said, listen, this is super easy, super moist, you know what I mean? This is like a new fan, you know, a new fan favorite. So what I want you guys to do is let me know down in the comment section below, what could you do? What could you add to this? How would you layer it? You know, all of that. There's ways I could have done it. I could have put vanilla wafers on the bottom. Look, I'm not finna spoil it. I'm not finna make it easy for y'all. Y'all let me know what you would do. And hey, you never know. Next time I make it, I might just do it your way. Now, if you're new to this channel, let me just take this time to say, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, smash that subscribe button, and tell everybody out there, check this out. There's a channel out here that's simplifying these recipes and taking the mystery out of cooking. And you know why I didn't take no bite? Because I'm finna pour myself a tall, ice cold glass of milk, and I'm finna sit down and relax, folks. And guess what? I'm out. Peace.